Yeah, so today I'm going to talk about how we will continue to gamify classroom engagement with Kahoot. And with me today is Louisa and Steve. But first, I'm Pádraig. I'm a director of product at Kahoot, and my team works predominantly with the game. So everything you see when you participate or host the game of Kahoot. And Louisa is our director of learning design. She will talk you through some of the pedagogy behind our new game modes. And last but not least is Steve Sherman, one of our amazing teacher Kahoot ambassadors, who will get to play some of these new game modes with you live in this session. So stick around for a engaging experience with the new game modes. But to kick it off, just to talk first about characters. So we released support for game characters or avatars back last year for back to school. We've since then continued to release new characters, characters for Valentine's Day, for winter holidays, for the Super Bowl even. And we will continue to create more and more characters. Here you can see how the participant selects a character, and then they can select an accessory for that character. So I'm not sure if you've got a chance to play around with these characters yet. If anybody has any favorites out there, please share in the chat. There are actually now up to 1,000 different combinations of characters and accessories. So it's a really, it's a fun way and quirky way to boost creativity and engagement with the class. So here is a sample of some of the characters that are available on the platform already. Some of these aren't actually available yet, so you're getting a little sneak peek at some of the characters that will be released in the coming weeks and months. We are planning to release collections of characters that are themed, and some of these you can see here, and some of the accessories you can see in this list. So yeah, I can see some of you like the burger, the monkey. Let's see who else. The cow. Yeah, so I think everybody has their favorite character, but can you guess what character or accessory is the most popular on the platform? I'll maybe give it a minute. So many people is saying panda. What else is there? Yeah, the rabbit. Well, here you go. The big reveal. The most popular character on the platform is the skull, followed closely by the monkey, and then followed by the penguin. And you can see the three most popular accessories for characters, not necessarily for these characters, but for all characters on the platform. But this changes with the seasons, but currently these are the most popular characters on the platform. And how are they represented in the game? So obviously when you pin in as a participant, you can see your name, your nickname on the lobby, and you get to see your character. It's also available on the scoreboard, and throughout the game, you'll see the characters appear. And then obviously on the podium, when we reveal the winners of the game, you'll see, or hopefully you'll see your character represented on the podium. And if you look quite closely, we have actually different emotions for characters. So there's a neutral emotion, there's a sad emotion, and there's a happy emotion. So if you're not doing too well in the game, you might look a little bit sad in your character. So that's just a little bit about game characters and our plan to expand and increase the number of characters and collections of characters on the platform. Next up is game modes. So we spent a lot of time since back to school releasing more and more game modes, and we plan to increase the number of game modes on the platform. It's a way to offer more variety and ways to learn from the millions and millions of Kahoots that exist on the platform. So really, the goal here was to create a variety of gameplay and game experiences that can suit different use cases and different audiences. The top two game modes here are the game modes, the classic version of Kahoot, which are presenter-led. So the teacher leads the game modes, the pace of the game, and all the participants, students in the game transition at the same time through each question. The difference with the new student-led game modes is that it's student-paced. So the teacher can set the duration of the game. So for example, if you have 5 minutes that you want to spend at the end of the class to play or to review some content, you can set aside the exact amount of time you want for this game. The participants play at their own pace. So that means that different kids at different skill levels or knowledge levels can progress at their pace. And the general format of all of these student-led game modes are the same, which I'll explain in a moment. These game modes are adaptive, so that if the student gets some questions incorrect, we try to surface those incorrect questions again and again, because we repeat questions in these game modes, so that it'll help to both reinforce knowledge, but to master the content through the act of playing a game. So that's a little kind of taster for the game modes. And again, you'll get a chance to play some of these game modes in a moment. So how do they work? They all follow the same general format. You answer, as a participant, you answer 3 to 5 questions to enter a mini game. And in this game mode, this is the treasure trove game mode, you have to tap on treasure to collect it for your chest. And then once you've collected your treasure, you go back to answer questions. And then depending on the number of questions in the Kahoot, we repeat the questions, and we try to be adaptive and repeat the questions that the students got incorrect. So that's the general format of all of the game modes, but we try to create different varieties of game experiences for the mini game and for the overall experience, which I'll go through now. Well, first I'll just tell you that we released game modes back in August for back to school, with support for just quiz and true false, but we recently also added support for the other question types that have points, so puzzle, type answer, and slider. And these are more complex questions, so they offer again more variety, but also more complexity to the games, so more ways to engage with these new game modes. The first game mode I'd like to talk about is treasure trove. So this is a player versus player game. So it's got the traditional, podium. There is a winner of the game. Participants answer questions correctly to get access to the mini game. We have added some what we call catch-up mechanics, where we try to give an advantage to the kids on the lower end of the podium or of the scoreboard, so that they get an opportunity to feel engaged and can feel like they can get back into the game. So, for example, in this game, the kids on the lower half of the scoreboard would get more rewarding jewels when they enter the mini game part of the game. So that's treasure trove, and it's a player versus player game in this treasure pirate type theme. The next game mode is called Color Kingdoms. This is a strategy game. It's a team game. Two teams play against each other. It's the same format. Each participant answers questions to get access to this miniature game, where the goal here is to capture the most land tiles. So you can see here in the diagram, the red team is trying to capture tiles from the blue team. And it's a strategy game, so you really have to collaborate with your teammates to try capture the most land tiles. We've also added some catch-up mechanics here, so that, for example, there's different rounds. If you lose a round, you will get bonus tiles in the next round. So we try to keep the game interesting for players, that it doesn't get over dominated by any one team. If there's a certain, skilled students on one team versus the other team. So that's Color Kingdoms. The next game mode is our loudest game mode. It's called Submarine Squad. So this is a class game. So far we've had a player versus player game. We've had a team versus team game. This game is the whole class collaborates together to try escape the lurking shark. You're stuck in a submarine, you're underwater, you're trying to boost your submarine to get away from this pink shark. And how you do that is to answer questions correctly. You get to boost the submarine. And then at different points of time in the game, the whole class is asked to solve a crisis. And this really requires some communication skills. It requires collaboration skills. So it's teaching things beyond the content in the actual Kahoots that you play. This is by far our loudest game mode. I would warn your maybe colleagues if you're going to play this in your class, because it is very loud and very engaging. This is a quote that I really like from one of the teachers on Twitter shared with us. I just experienced, hands down, the most engaging, joyful, cooperative team building class review game I've ever done with my students. At Kahoot, you all hit a home run with Submarine Squad. And just to give you a taste of what that is actually like in real life, we visited a school in Oslo where we played a game of Submarine Squad, and you can see how the kids interact with each other to try solve the crisis during this game mode. So here you go, let me play this game. All right, that is Submarine Squad. So as you can see, it is a really loud game, quite engaging, requires collaboration skills, but still the students are learning through answering the questions along the way. To kind of as a kind of a counter to that game mode, we've also released a very calm game. So as the name would suggest, chill art. This game mode is a much different game. This is also a class game, so all of the class works together to try reveal a art masterpiece. So you answer questions correctly, you get access to this canvas, and then you have to reveal the canvas together. This game, there's no time pressure, there's no competition, there's no stress. So depending on your mixture of students, the mixture of skills in the class, you can choose this game if you want a calm game mode experience. And again, to give you a sample of what that game is like and the general mood of that game, here is a quick video showing you a class playing chill art. So there you go. That's obviously a quite different game experience to the Submarine Squad, and it's been part of the goal of creating game modes, is to create this variety of types of games and game experiences for all use cases in the classroom. This last game mode we're really excited about. As Sean mentioned earlier, it's only released a couple of days ago and it's already surpassed all of the other numbers on gameplays in Kahoot. This is called Tallest Tower. This is a team game, so you can play up to 4 teams, from 2 to 4 teams. In this game, the goal is to, as a team, try stack blocks to complete floors, and the team with the greatest number of floors at the end of the time duration wins the game. So it's a collaborative game. It's a little bit like Tetris. You have to drop the blocks in the right place to fill the floor. But we've also introduced this monster or gorilla, as you can see in the illustration here, that at different times in the game, we will introduce an option or an ability to unlock the gorilla, and the gorilla then would block your opposing team or the teams you're competing against from dropping blocks on their tower. And again, we've used some catch-up mechanics here to try level the game, so that if you are lower down on the scoreboard, you've got a greater opportunity of unlocking the gorilla. So we try to keep the game interesting for all participants. This game just released a few days ago. You'll get an opportunity in a few moments to try this game, or at least see it live. If you haven't tried it, please try it. We would love to get your feedback. We continue to iterate on these games. As soon as we've launched them, we're still trying to get feedback and try to learn and improve the game experiences. We are planning to create more game modes, solo game modes and live game modes. We are planning to create premium layers on top of the existing game modes. And with that, we'd like to give you a special offer on Kahoot Plus Premier. Kahoot Plus Premier is the plan where a lot of the paid options that we plan to release in the next weeks and months will be part of. And this is a early bird offer available until the 31st of March, where if you can take a screenshot now and decide later, but if you sign up now, you get this price for Kahoot Plus Premier. So with that, I'd like to pass it over to Louisa, our Director of Learning Design, to talk a little bit about the pedagogy behind game modes. Hi, Louisa. Great.
Hi, Pork. Thanks so much. Great description of all these exciting game modes. So when we think about using game modes in the classroom, of course, it's fun and exciting. The kids are asking for it. But we also want to think a little bit about why are we using these different game modes, and be intentional about how does that support our teaching goals, our students' needs for the day. So what I suggest everybody think about when you're considering using game modes is the idea that there's a game mode for every mood. And what I mean by that is that we know that different students engage differently, they learn differently, they're motivated by different things. And what I really like about these game modes is that as a set, as a whole collection, the game modes really offer a lot of variety in how students can engage in the mood, in the ambiance, the environment that it creates. So think a little bit about, who feels comfortable when. Maybe some of your students are really shining in that chill art game mode, where they can take their time and think it through. Maybe some students are really shining under pressure with when that gorilla comes in tallest tower. And we know that maybe not every student is going to feel at their best or in their element in every game mode. So consider both the individual needs and the class needs, and maybe just, rotate or alternate, or think about who really needs to feel supported that day, or who maybe needs to be challenged, or who is kind of ready to get out of their comfort zone. So thinking about the different needs and how those match the game mode that you choose for a given Kahoot session. And the last thing that I will suggest is to share your reasoning with your class. A lot of times as educators, we do what we do best. We design our lessons, we teach in the way that we see is working, but it's really valuable to share that thinking with your students. Let them know, hey, I noticed you guys were kind of off the walls today, so I thought maybe we needed to calm down with some chill art Kahoot. Or maybe, it's a gray day, the energy is really low, or people are feeling a little negative. Let's energize our class with a tallest tower game. So, and maybe some of it is also about skills, right? You may say, well, we're doing these team projects this week, so in line with that, we're going to play this collaborative game where we have to work together as a class in Submarine Squad. So thinking, intentionally about how your learning goals and the students' social emotional needs of the day, how those fit with the game mode that you choose, and sharing that thinking with the class. Bring them in, let them have a say, talk together about why you're choosing which game mode. And that will also help your students kind of model for them how they can also reflect on what they need and how they can get their needs met. So those are just some thoughts about some ways to think about using game modes in your classroom. And I think now I am passing it off to Steve, who's going to run a super fun Kahoot for us.
Louisa, and perfect timing for you to segue that, to share kind of the reasoning behind why you might be using or choosing a game mode experience in the classroom. And I guess I'll provide the reasoning with Steve that we so appreciate the empowerment that our teacher community here at Kahoot provides and supports. And what better way to kind of nurture that collaborative environment than through a collaborative game mode. So Steve, thank you for joining me. We're excited to kind of pilot and share what this game mode might be about live here at the meetup.
Well, it is wonderful to be joining all of you. I'm here in Cape Town, South Africa, and let me tell you, game mode is like chocolate. Once you introduce a piece to your students, it's over. They're going to be begging you for chocolate every single day, and I do find that game mode is something that you shouldn't overplay. You should always play it sparingly, because that way you can get a lot more out of your students. And of course, I've been looking at all the other game modes, and I love the different aspects, the class competitiveness, the individuals and the collaboration. But let me tell you, yes, Submarine squad is very loud, but when you get to tallest tower, you'll be surprised how loud it gets. So we're going to get to test it out today. So you're going to be signing in, and I believe they're going to cut it off at 200. What is our limit, Hannah?
Well, if we're cutting it off at 200, then our limit is at that 200. But you know, I
try
think
and break
you
it,
and
can't
I,
we?
yes, we risk it. We press our luck a little bit. So, and I also want to just make sure that everyone knows how fun it is to watch kind of as the spectator perspective and point of view, that if you're not making it into the Kahoot this time around, we do plan to play additional Kahoots throughout the day today, but how special it is as either a teacher perspective or maybe just a teammate or a co-player, co-pilot to cheer on friends from near and far, whether in your classroom or just watching virtually as we are today, and see what fun it is even from that perspective.
Absolutely. And I can tell you, just today I was playing this with some of my students, and you know, some of the students didn't have a device with them, so they were able to join in on Teams and share their expertise and knowledge. And even the kids with ADSO, do you know what ADSO is? It's attention deficit shiny object. Even those kids were able to participate and feel like they were part of the team. So I see we're up to 147. This is fantastic. Keep signing in. Let's go to 250. We want to see if we can break Kahoot today. We love breaking Kahoot every now and again when we're testing out a brand new game to see what its limits are all about. And
so fun to see people in the chat that are saying like, oh, I just got in, I have my game pin, go Team Fire, says Angela. How fun it is to even build that community. Like we're seeing it now virtually, that even those joining Team Fire, Team Ocean, Team Sunshine, Team Forest, you may not know these people, they might be perfect strangers, but what a cool opportunity to be able to connect with either classmates, players, teammates, colleagues, and learn together, be exposed to new material together, review together, activate background knowledge. We're in.
Look at that. The spoiled sports. They've skipped that step. They've said, too bad, we're not taking any more. But now, Hannah, are there any prizes for this particular round?
Of course, there are prizes. And how cool, Steve, we'll get to kind of preview what it looks like to have winners on game mode experiences, because the podium format and presentation does look slightly different, but we always love reasons to give some celebratory swag. So as we play today, different people will earn kind of points of recognition for the most building blocks played, the most correct answers, fastest speed. So without further ado, we'll start.
Let's do it. Okay, and what I like about this mode is that it's almost like auto mode. I don't have to sit there and push next. I can walk around, engage with the students, take photographs and videos, and that is really one of the highlights as well for me.
Awesome, exactly. And I see our tutorial kind of clicking through so people know how to play and engage. But as Pork mentioned and shared before, the goal is to build the tallest tower, of course, as the name suggests. And to do that, you'll earn building blocks in a Tetris layout by correctly answered questions, and a little bit of some sabotage and strategy might be at play. So important to watch the host screen, not just your player screen too.
Absolutely. All right, so let's get ready to rumble. And of course, you won't see the questions on the screen over here. You're going to see them on your device. So eyes down and looking.
Exactly.
I'll just have a look. Yeah, sorry, Hannah.
I was just saying, as people are playing, of course, as you're mentioning, the questions don't come up on the host screen. So how awesome that students are, or players for that matter, are seeing content at their own pace, very individualized. And of course, students have opportunity and exposure to questions at like a repeated cadence. So if you miss one question about seasons the first time around, maybe you're not quite sure when the equinox is, or how many seasons might be existing in different hemispheres and parts of the world, no problem, because you'll get the question again.
Team Ocean, Team Fire, and Team Forest already off. Remember, you want to try and, like Tetris, get as many as you can on one layer, and that will build the first layer. Oh, Team Forest, you are fast learners, and so are Team Fire and Team Ocean. Team Sunshine, you're just dropping levels all over the place. There we go. You've got your first level. That is outstanding. I think Claudia managed to save the day there with Carla and MJ. Keep going, and remember, there is a gorilla. If you see the gorilla, try and build up towards that gorilla so you can sabotage your opponents.
And here we see it in action, Steve. The gorilla has come out to play and has stampeded all over Team Fire, but it looks like they're recovering pretty quickly. So fun to see how fast-paced and action-packed the game really is.
Completely. And of course, with only 30 seconds left, you can imagine the pressure is on. And the difficulty is, of course, getting the accurate placement of your pieces so that you can complete the layer. That is another whole challenge all on its own for some of my students. But let's see, some of you are missing the building completely. Definitely a great way for hand-eye coordination. And I see they are building it up over there.
Talk about fine motor skills in addition to just content readiness and knowledge acquisition. You're using your whole body when you're playing Kahoot.
Everything is involved. Well, let's have a look at what the points reveal. 4th place was Team Fire. In 3rd place, we had Team Sunshine. In 2nd, we had Team Ocean. And of course, in 1st place, we had Team Forest. Woo! Well
and
done.
cool, Steve, that we can, unlike the standard podium, there are so many different ways to reinforce and reward students of different teams. So even though Team Fire may not have had the tallest tower, we can still, I believe it's Mia who earned the most building blocks with correct answers on Team Fire. And we can also see the same thing for Team Ocean, Team Sunshine, and Team Forest. So a cool way to reinforce students that might otherwise not be seeing themselves on the podium as frequently or maybe as consistently too.
100%, 100%. Now, do we have time to play another one?
Let's play another one. Why
Let's
not?
do it. Let's do it.
I feel like we want to make sure that different people and different players had different chances, or maybe just another team that you're playing on. And of course, a fun way to see that, Steve, I'll always remember this advice you gave for using game mode experiences in the classroom is to always leave everyone wanting a little bit more as the game mode finishes. So even though there might still be some excitement and not everyone has finished or even participated, how fun to leave kind of the cliffhanger.
Are we going to do Color Kingdom? Should we do Color Kingdom?
I say we go for Tallest Tower. Let's
again, let's give everyone a chance.
Yes, Tallest Tower is the newest, the most exciting. Why not give the people?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Hannah, can I hire Steve to host my Kahoots? Because he is the best Kahoot announcer I've ever heard in my entire life. Kahoot, my students, would you mind coming in every once in a while to host some of my?
I would be delighted. I do weddings, funerals, and bar mitzvahs. So anytime you want to get hold of me, just give me a shout. Oh, look how quickly they are signing in. We're already up to 120. They are so excited to get in. Let me tell you, I believe, are we playing a different one?
We're playing a different content, I believe, a different.
Oh, good. And I haven't seen it yet, so this is going to be very exciting.
Yeah, and I see people, I saw someone use the nickname I'm Back. So someone has played before and is ready for round 2.
I see we've got Silingo
joining. I see friends joining.
Pianos,
yes.
Anita, Intan, D, and Windy City. Obviously, that must be Chicago. We are getting ready. They are just like so strict. Incredible woman who made history. There are so many.
So many in time for Women's History Month. So giving a shout out to all the girl power joining our Kahoot meetup
Wonderful,
today.
wonderful. And what is so delightful is that in May, we're going to have an astronaut out here in Cape Town. And at the end of the session, we always play a Kahoot for the audience members when you've got 700 people in the audience, and we give away fun prizes. And let me tell you, that is one of the highlights of every single presentation where the kids get to play Kahoot.
Awesome. That is so exciting to see in action, and so fun that you can use Kahoot in environments, meetings, maybe even in sessions that aren't Kahoot native, but still can be Kahoot adjacent in the experience and the content. Steve, my favorite part about playing Tallest Tower and kind of seeing it in action is how quick it turns from everyone on their own independent devices answering questions to boom, everyone has answered their 3 questions correctly. They immediately have their building blocks and it's time to kind of construct the tallest tower, which I see.
I noticed that, but I also noticed even the quietest student in the class shouting things like, come on, we gotta beat them, we gotta beat them. I mean, that was nice to see them come out of their shell, maybe a little bit too forward, but that was okay. It's good to see that they are participating. In fact, I never saw a single child in any class sit there and just watch and go, I don't really feel like playing, because once they join a group, you can actually hear the cheering and the screaming going on. They get so involved and so excited. I think that's what real learning is all about, where they forget the fact that they're learning and they think that they're playing, but they're actually taking in knowledge, which is amazing.
Totally. It's amazing how Kahoot can really camouflage that knowledge and content sharing experience, that students are engaging in that collaborative piece, the learning piece, but they're also like soaking up new content and new standards and lesson ideas, which is of course quite important.
And 1 second, and look at that, time is up. Let's find out which of the teams came in 4th. It was Team Sunshine. In 3rd place, we had Team Fire. Oh, is it going to be Forest? Or is it going to be Ocean? Ocean is in 3rd place. And of course, in 1st place, it would be Seb. And Seb got 11 pieces. That's amazing. And that is Forest. Well done. And then there was a good point there. Porrick, you were the one who suggested that it would be great for a participant view to be showing on the screen while looking at the game view. So that's the one thing that normally happens when you're playing in regular Kahoot. You can actually see the questions and you know what's going on. But when you are playing in this particular mode, as I said, I love that part. I can walk around the classroom. It runs on autopilot. And if there are kids who need a little bit of a help, I can give them a bit of a push and whisper some answers in their ear. And that way they can all feel like they are participating.